Wow. It's pretty much all you can say is wow. The Halloween blizzard of 1991 was, I think, 28 inches in a 24-hour period, and we just got 20 inches in Woodbury. It's thick. I'm walking in my yard almost up to my knees. A few drifts are even over the knees. Checking the garden out where all the trees are stored. Those critters are gonna have to work through some snow now to get to my trees. So they are definitely healed in with snow. They are protected. Got a nice little bit of insurance now. Snow insurance. So they're definitely insulated, and we'll have a regulated temp probably for the rest of winter. We are forecasted to be at 50 on Wednesday of this coming week. This isn't all gonna melt, so it's a winter wonderland for the rest of this season. It is Sunday, December the 12th of 2021, and yesterday we had all of the snow that I showed you to open up the show. So my theme for today's show is not so much winter wonderland, but what it of course made me do over the last 24 to 36 hours and how I'm going to approach working on a bonsai today. Because my passion and excitement and joy that working on a bonsai tree brings me sometimes has to be put on the back burner. And I have to learn and continue to learn that patience with the trees and with this art form and with the horticulture and all of those things combined. Mark my words, there's been some foolish things I've done in my life. And last night we went out to the Target Center in Minneapolis to go watch the Timberwolves play. You know, we were expecting 5 to 8 inches. Didn't start till noon. A couple of inches on the ground when we left. And that's about how far we got into the driveway last night, pulling up. We made a run for it, and we got that far. I dug a little trail around it, and now I've got some work to do. So before any work on any bonsai tree can be done, or anything else today for that matter, except for the load of laundry that I got started before I came out here, we got some work to do. And let's hope that the snowblower starts. So yesterday, woke up to the beautiful scenery and the snow that you saw, but there was more work to do. And so one of the things that I want to remind everybody out there, that if you're new to the bonsai experience, is that if you have a tree or two, you can put it on the shelf for a while, you can water it a couple times a week in your plant room, and you can go about your life. But as you continue to grow your bonsai passion, and if you have a ton of trees to work on, then you have to be super careful when life events might get in the way. So always remember to keep that patience in mind and try not to force the issue. And sometimes you have to do the things you don't want to do, right? And that's true of life, true of bonsai, and you have to get that stuff out of the way before you can get to the fun stuff. I often joke around with the kids that I teach with that they video game, and do they do anything else? And over the weekend, did you get outside and enjoy any outdoor fresh air? Did you do something else besides sleep, eat, and play video games? And I joke around with them a lot, but I too have to stop and pause the bonsai passion and do some other things as well, with family, with friends, and with nature, and just getting outside. And of course the chores of life. And so that's what the snowfall did. Before I pick the tree today that's going to be on my spin table to show you a little bit of progress in the plant room, we still have some catching up to do. So the first part of the show was the snow, the pretty, the beauty, but then I had to get to work. I had to work on my driveway, so bonsai had to wait. Now sometimes bonsai can't wait. Today it could wait, or I should say yesterday it could wait, because before any of other life things could happen, I had to take care of a few things on the front part of the house. So let's go back outside. Phase one is done. It only took an hour. We both cranked it out in less than an hour, I think. But the big dilemma when it comes to shoveling the driveway is not so much the driveway, but the bottom of the driveway. So the odds are, about 99 times out of 100, when we're done shoveling the bottom here, which we can't get through yet, the plow's gonna come through. So we'll tackle it anyway, just to make a little bit less snow in the driveway. So it's time to tackle that. Looking down my main road to the left. Looking at the beautifully shoveled driveway. The van is unstuck. Down the road to the right, you can see we haven't been plowed out yet. It's 10:30 in the morning. So the hard work is done. Took a few pictures of the untouched snow. Got the hard work done. Now we gotta find a bonsai to work on. A quick update since we're in the garage. I brought in the old Minnesota Forest number 2 because of the critter chop. I was talking to a fellow MBS member at our holiday get-together, potluck, just last week. And we were talking about, hey, why don't I just take my Dremel tool and I'll gnaw at the center of this until it falls over. Timber. And it'll be a beaver tree. What do we think? Thumbs up on that idea? Yeah, we'll Dremel this thing and we'll make it look like there's gnaws of and we'll tip it over and it'll be a beaver chew. Although I'd have liked more branches and leaves, and well, we'll have fun with it and see. So there is the forest in all its garage glory. I just watered it today. Hadn't been watered in about 2 weeks. And now it'll be good for probably a couple more. Big thanks to my wife for helping out. We did have 20 plus inches in Woodbury. I didn't get the official total still, but I know it was over 20 inches. A lot of snow to shovel. Thank goodness it wasn't real heavy wet snow, or you would have not seen me shoveling like we were there. It would have taken much longer. Of course, I just typed up the video, of course, to show you some entertaining looks at me shoveling. But it wasn't as heavy as it could have been. But we really had to take our time. Got the car unstuck. Moved it on up. Before the day was done yesterday, most of the driveway turned out to be black because of the sun, because my driveway faces south, and we got a black tar driveway again, so it's not as slippery, so that's good. They didn't come plow until 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I was already on the road with my daughter, and so then my wife went and did part of the bottom driveway, and a neighbor came by with a snow plow and got the rest of that out, snow blower. So thanks to my wife again for that, and thanks to the neighbor for doing that. He's a neighbor a couple doors down. We don't even know him yet, and he helped out. So helping each other out was great. So we have a clear path. Life can go back to normal, except when I came back into the house, I remembered when I was working on bonsai, I had set a tree aside earlier the day before. I moved it away from my other trees on my benches. And the reason why I moved it away is because there was a couple extra white specks on the leaves that I was a little bit nervous about. Yeah, they were the creepy crawlers. Aphids, I believe. Spider mites, they were too big for that, and they're kind of this white, real soft, smushed easy in your hand, really super tiny. But let's take a look at what prevented me from putting a tree on my spin table right away when I really wanted to do some bonsai work. I had to do the other bonsai work, the care, the maintenance, the checking in on the trees, and I found that this tree had too many specks. So let's see what happened with the trees and how we took care of the little white critters. I'm down in the basement where the plant room is, and I'm in the bathroom. It's kind of an odd place for me to be. I don't typically have a bonsai in the bathroom, but we have something to deal with today. So I wanted to show you. See if I can get this. I noticed a few white speckles in the leaves of one of my Premnas, and upon closer inspection, we've got a little tiny group, a colony of aphids of some sort, or some mite. They're not spider mites, I don't believe, because we wouldn't see them that much with the naked eye. But there is a whole bunch of speckled friends for us to take care of. So I'm going to put together a mixture of soap and water, a little detergent dish soap, 40 parts to 1, and we're gonna spray this thing in the bathroom in the shower, really good, and then yeah, we'll hopefully get rid of all these things, and then we'll rinse it off with the shower water. So to do that as well and not mess up the soil, I'm going to go ahead and saran wrap that soil and keep it all in nice and tight so none of the bugs fall into the dirt. So we'll have to take our little decoration out. We'll get some saran wrap, and let's wrap this guy up. I can smear my hands right over the leaves and just get rid of most of them. But that's not going to be a long-term solution, and I will not get all of them. So I've got some old saran wrap that came from my wife's grandmother, plastic food wrap from probably about 60 years ago. I thought I'd recycle it. I could use it for purposes as well. I didn't know at the time. But how about wrapping up soil? Oh, I had my turtle in here too. Girdle has to go somewhere else. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this with saran wrap so we can tilt this thing around and get rid of these bugs without destroying all this soil. Okay, we are saran wrapped. Let's go mix some soap and water and give this a spray. So here I got my sprayer, and this is 1 gallon of water. Maybe it's not quite 1 gallon. Yeah, it's just shy of a gallon. But I've got about 32 ounces in here, so I got about a half gallon in here. So half gallon of water, I'm gonna put about 2 teaspoons of detergent dish soap, liquid dish soap. So that's in there. We're gonna go ahead, give it a couple of pumps, and we're ready to spray our tree. The nice thing about having this saran wrap on here is I can tilt it up like this. All right. So we got that thing good and sudsy. So we're gonna let this sit for a little bit and let the bugs reach their demise. And we'll come back and we'll rinse this off with water in about a half an hour. So some fish pond water, fish tank water I should say. I am indoors. Getting all the soapy residue off there so it doesn't get any sticky residue. Hoping that all the aphids have suffocated, died away. And upon first inspection, it looks pretty good. I don't see any speckles on there. I see a little bit more soap on there though. We'll leave this in the shower here now to dry off a little bit. And we'll come check a little bit later to make sure our critters are no longer on there. Anytime there's a bug infestation, it's then a really good idea to inspect the rest of your trees. So the tree in question was right here in this gap. And so we're just gonna go ahead and pick up some of the trees here, and we're gonna make sure we don't see a lot of spread of those bugs on other species here in the plant room. You see some on this guy right here. So there's a couple crawling around here too, so we're gonna have to take this one to the shower. This is my melon seed ficus that I thought I had lost, and I cut it way back short and I got all kinds of new growth. I don't want any pests getting at this one, so we're gonna isolate that one. This is one of my other melon seed ficus real close by here. This one looks pretty good. I've got my Fukian tea over here. This one looked a little tough a couple weeks back, and it, all of a sudden, just in 1 or 2 days, I came down here and boom, the leaves perked up. They started to push out some new growth. Looks like the flowers are going to start to bud a little bit, so that's really good as well. Looking back at the next Premna. I think this one can get a spray as well. So if I don't look at these trees real carefully, yep, this one has them as well. We've got some little critters on this guy. So we're going to spend some time in the shower today, not getting clean, but cleaning more of the trees. This one doesn't look touched at the moment. We got the Melina back here. And they seem to be leaving the Melina alone as well. So those are all fine. It looks like the jades and the Thanksgiving cactuses, the Benjamina's okay. The Premna down below looks okay. These Premna, I don't think are affected by the critters. And the Premna here, real close to the camera here. Here's my Premna that we recently chopped. We have some extended growth down here. We have some extended growth here by this leaf, and this is extended growth on this one and this one. So I've chopped it down and the growth is now spreading down, so everything's looking good there, and the critters are not on that one. But I do see a few on this one. They do look like aphids or some kind of mite that's not a spider mite. They're too big for spider mites. And this is the 5 trunk forest. I did cut back, not on an episode, but I did cut this back to see if it can start to make some branches down lower. Right now I'm looking for bugs though, and I don't see any in this guy either. So about a third of the trees up here on this benches up here. Back over here, the Melina looks good. My new forest in the grapewood. I did lose one tree already. This one just wilted away and just died within a couple of days. But the other ones are all perked up and looking nice. Oops. Get rid of some of that muck on the edge of the tree there. And so all those look healthy. Everything else up here looks healthy. The final little melon seed way over here looks good. So I've got about 4 more trees. We got to head back into the shower. And here we go. And we'll let them sit for about a half an hour. So that was a bit of a time crunch. I wasn't able to get to any trees yesterday because of taking care of life, taking care of the snow, taking care of the bugs on the trees. It wasn't just with one tree, it ended up being with 5 trees. And I had to take care of that. So 40 parts water to 1 part of the detergent dish soap. Make sure it's a detergent style soap. Now if that doesn't work and I check them out today and tomorrow and there's still some bugs on there, I might go to one of my insecticidal soaps that I have invested in. So check online and check out some insecticidal soaps. I'll see if I can find the brand that I bought and put that down into the description, or do a little flash here in post-production. So insecticidal soap might be next, or some neem oil if you've used neem oil. So again, both those products, if you're going to do your mixture, whether it's a 40-to-1 or 30-to-1 or 50-to-1, read the label carefully. With the soap, for me, my dish soap, just your standard dish soap detergent style, it was 40-to-1 is what I generally use. You're going to rinse off though, half hour, 2 hours later, you're going to rinse off all that with some clean water, and hopefully all those bugs have been taken care of, and it's all organically done. So as I'm chatting here, you're probably looking at the what I believe is a Ficus benjamina variegated with the leaf style, and it was a big box store, so I don't know for sure. A lot of those big box stores just say assorted bonsai. Always frustrated to get a tree that says assorted bonsai. Tell me the species, I want to know. If anybody knows what this one specifically might be, zoom up on those leaves there and you can see. This is my ficus forest. Some of the trees, I added some small trees, cuttings from this very tree that were growing elsewhere. I did lose one up in front there, so I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can wiggle that one out of the earth there. I think it's gonna come out just fine. Yeah, whatever roots were on there, it certainly did not last for this planting for whatever reason. A couple roots there that broke off, so it tried. It was right in the middle, not sure what happened. So I do have this one in the back that actually started growing pretty nice, got some height back here. We've got these two back here as well, or this one back here, and this one over here. And this one also back here. The leaves are covering it, making it look like it's alive, but it's not. This one died as well. So we're gonna go ahead and look at that. That just rotted right off. So that was dead for a while. I just hadn't cleaned it up yet until today. And so it just kind of came right off. Now hopefully those decaying roots in there in the front and back is providing a little bit of that, you know, good bacteria in the soil, and it's just gonna break down a little bit of nitrogen and help the other trees. So today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to just give this a haircut. It's been in the plant room for 2+ months now. I'm getting some new growth now, so I know it's ready to push out new growth. Now I hadn't defoliated it all and gotten it ready for the plant room. I just brought it in here. We got some nice young shoots right here. This one right here is nice and young and shooting on up. This one right here is a good one. There's a couple little ones up here. So it's pushing new growth. It's comfortable in the plant room. It's kind of like almost like spring in here after a little bit of rest. Things are moving along in the right direction. So today, a full 24 hours after I wanted to work on a tree, I'm finally working on a little mini forest just for a quick haircut, and then we'll call it good for this weekend. Because I don't want to push working on the tree. I don't want to try to do too many things. So it's that practice and patience. And so here we go. Let's see if we can give this a little trim. I think I'll work on the small trees first because I know they're just going to be trimmed down to get a little bit smaller size. And so this one right here is growing up real nice and tall. I think I'm just going to cut it shorter right here to a leaf that's growing outside. So this leaf now is growing outside, and I'll just trim this little tip right here so the tree grows a little bit more horizontal than vertical. This branch that's shooting out to the right here a little bit, your left, my right, I'm just going to trim that as well. And we'll see what that does. And I'm going to trim this one back to this one leaf back here. It's growing more up than inside to the forest. So there's that little tree back there. From the front, you don't see as much of that tree. This tree is kind of blocking it a little bit. I could go down another whole section on this tree because there's this growth right here, so maybe I'll do that. Let's do that right here. Get a little movement on that tree growing out that direction. I will cut out these leaves growing towards the camera, and we'll see how this one takes off. Background tree. Background tree number 2 is right over there, hugged underneath this tree. It's almost a this one, like, I don't know if it leaned from some, it's pretty solid in there, so I don't remember why I put it over so close to this one. But we'll go ahead and just cut this one shorter again. So we'll go ahead and cut this branch off right here. That's the leader. We're going to bring it down much more compact. This one is growing inside towards this tree, so I'm going to cut that off, and we're left with a couple of leaves here. And again, this is the kind of tree, this Benjamina in particular, when you have a nice branch out here and you got this leaf growth under here. I don't want 2 branches growing from one spot. I can clean that up. And I've got 3 or 4 or 5 leaves on there to continue to hope this journey of that little tree. We're in a real nice, comfortable plant room here where the temperatures won't get too crazy. So the outside small trees are done. That brings this front guy right here. It's got an odd little branch growing out this way. Obviously, we cut that back at one point. We got one leaf on there right now. We'll let it go for one more session here and see what happens. And we're gonna go ahead, and here's one of those leaves again. Right here, it's growing down there in that armpit of that branch. We don't want another one to grow there, so we'll take that off. Now we have a branch that's growing off to your right here, so I can cut this one off. It's in the front. I don't want to block the forest per se. And then this set of branches comes right at us, but if I go ahead and just cut it a little bit shorter, it's not as in our face, and we'll just see what this little tree out front does. We'll just leave it just like that. Now I don't want to block out all the light from these little trees, so I do want to cut these back a little bit. And again, the 3 main trees in the forest are the most important, so I'm going to make sure I have them the way I want them. So this tree has been growing, you know, a little sporadically for me compared to some of my other trees. So it's not been it grows, my cuttings have been okay, but the tree they don't know exactly what it wants to do. So I have a couple of big cuts on here, and I would like to show you this one. Right there is a big old chop from a couple years ago, and it's almost completely healed over. So it shows you the when time heals all wounds, maybe, right? Right there, that one's getting really close to being completely sealed up, which is nice. Now that major trunk, let's work on that tree, splits into this slingshot kind of Y looking tree, so it's kind of bizarre, and it's real thick up top. if you can see, I've got a major cut right here, and I got a major cut right there, and there's even a cut back here. 3 cuts. I've really chopped this thing up, but it still doesn't quite know. I don't know exactly what this thing is going to do. And it's so chunky up there, and we have no growth down here now. So, except for this back branch back here. And then this back branch over here. So these two are grown, but I have nothing except for the one coming, or no, I'm sorry. That's the front branches. I got to make sure I'm looking at my tree right. We've got this one in the front here and one in the front here, and this one's kind of in the front. The back ones are fine. I step back here and let me peek at this. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I should take this one out. It's kind of in the front. But it does swoop back here and then swoop up like this, so it's become a fun little leader to this branch right here. But it's super thick, super thick, super thick, so maybe I cut back to that one right there. I do like the movement, so if you see, if this heals over time back here, this scar you can't see, and then the tree goes this way, then it grows up here, then it's growing in this way. It's a real fun branch, but it's so high and so thick up top. We have nothing down below to support. I'm not sure, except for this branch right here, this branch on the other split part. So what do I do with all that? And this side of the tree is going to grow over towards these trees, so that kind of blocks over there. So my inclination on this branch is to go ahead and give it movement back this direction. So let's do that. Opens up this pathway in here to see this tree more, which you see there's no branches on this side till this new one right there from a cut point right there growing. We'll see what happens with that guy long term. I also might cut this branch all the way back to this one. Now it grows inside towards the center of the tree, but this gives it maybe some movement. Maybe something will grow down here back out to the right. So right here, maybe I'll get some growth back here if I push back and cut. And there's actually a little tiny bud that you'll never be able to see on camera right there growing towards the camera. But again, if I cut back, maybe I'll get one that will grow on this side as well. So this whole branch could come off and will make it a slender tree. And in fact, what I'll first do is cut the one that comes right in front of us back a little bit. There. So I made those lower branches smaller right now just to see what my design of my tree can look like. We're just hoping we get some growth on this side of the tree again back towards here because we cut this off up here. But I really want this to come back down in size, so this is what I'm here to do today, is to trim it back. Cut a branch back there a little bit shorter. This one back here, I'm going to cut the top growth, make the back shorter. So there I just cut this one right here a little bit shorter back. So if I cut this one right here, so I've got this one curving in here and this one going this way. So these two here and here are going to cross into each other unless I do something drastic, like maybe cut that side off. And again, I might cut this off in the end anyway. And then this one, if I cut this branch off right there, we have two branches there that are not quite so competing yet. Yet we can see their curvy design. So we got this swoop up here and swoop over here. If we get some more back button down here, we'll see what happens. Or again, I might cut this off. There's just so much going on right there. We've got to thin that out and figure out what's going to stay and what's going to go. I do like how strong this branch is growing. There's one going inside here. I decided to cut this one off in front because it was blocking that path of the trunk. And I still can cut this shorter if I desire. If I cut this one off right here, this is definitely going to come off. I'm definitely going to cut it off here because I want it shorter. And this is just too thick and bulky up there. It's too thick of a trunk. We want taper from thick to thin to thinner, and there's just too much thickness up there. And then if we were to keep this as it is right now, we've got this growth in here like I showed you. We'll leave that for a moment. If I cut this back a little bit, if I cut it back even further, we've got this branch right there, got this little growth down here. So we got a fun little gnarly branch down here that's going all over the place. It's pretty cool, pretty fun. We'll see if it stays alive and pushes any back budding down here. There's a growth bud back here like I told you. And though this one grows inside, this one grows up, I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to here and see if we get any back budding below this internode. Alright. So that's a pretty big haircut. And then this one up here we're just going to cut shorter and promote growth back on this side. We took a lot off. We took off a lot of that tree. We're just going to see what happens to that tree. See if we can get some budding back down lower now and develop this tree so the ramification can start here. I'm not worried about this so much, but I want a little ramification out here. If I get a branch down lower than this one, if I get a branch down here somewhere, we'll see. Still tempted to cut that one off. Let's do it. Let's be bold. Today is about being bold. Okay, so we got that down to the bare minimum. My slingshot tree is really looking like a slingshot tree, but again, a tree is not done for years down the road. We'll see what kind of back bud we've got. I got a couple of bumps back here I'm even seeing now. There's a bud right behind my finger here. There's a bud right there that could take off, and if it takes off right there, that'd be ideal if it grew that way more. So we're hoping. And now this one, of course, is not shaded out at all. So 2 more trees, and we can call this one done. So now this has a really long tree with a big old section here and this little section back here. I don't know if we keep this as almost like a father-daughter branch, if you will. You got the father up top, or the father-son tree. Just got some length back here that we're just going to get rid of. Again, making the tree more compact. All this leggy growth trying to reach to the light. This one too I can just cut off because I know I'm not going to want that one. So we've got some branches left over here. Just going to cut that off. We got the underbrush over here to this tree. So is it a two-tiered tree? Or do we cut down to that level? And again, we have a lot of big bulk in here and branches that we're trying to grow. And we've got this primary branch down here. If this stays true to the tree, if we get a couple of back buds maybe in here to grow up a little bit here, we can cut this direction that's going in the back. This one's also in the back, so it's kind of a bummer. This one right here is our lowest. So we have 3 branches down here. If I were to just lop this off right here, we'd have this tiny little tree back there that we could hopefully get growing. Here's another scar from a cut from several years ago. I would say it's about 75% healed over. But it's real bumpy and cluttery up here, so I still need to know what to do with that top section. There is this growth right here going to the left, your right. So something will grow right there. There's also, as I can see, there's a couple of bud wannabes here that didn't take, so hopefully more will take if I'm taking all this oxen from the top of the tree and shoving it down. Now if I cut out the thickness of this branch up front for the viewers, I would have this back branch right here. And regardless, I think I'll take this lower branch off. This one was here. I took that one off. It opens up this tree, and now we have kind of a thin structure going that way, so I have to figure out which ones now am I going to take off. I have 3 branches. Let's look at the side view. I have this sticking out from this main branch and then this right here, but they're all lined up this way. So they're lined up the wrong way to look at from the front. So we'll cut out the one that's coming right out at the front at us. Cut the one coming out in the front. So now I have these 2 competing branches. They're both kind of going up and a little bit over. This one certainly has some fun movement compared to this back one, and we don't see the back one. So maybe we cut that back one off. And if we go ahead and make sure our wounds are a little tighter this time around. This one looks like it could have a little bit of a operation on there a little bit, make it a little bit smoother. And I'll just make this shorter. I'm gonna make this shorter, taking off the strength up here. So it keeps the height of the center of the forest taller than this side, but maybe it's a little too tall. But I have one branch right there that's grown out nicely. So maybe I just go a little bit shorter, like that, and we'll just see what happens. My other bold move would be to cut this off and see if that grows. The other really bold move would be to cut it all the way back to here, but then it'd be super small compared to this one. But over time, it would fill in that space, I think. Let's work on this tree and then we'll make that final decision. The fan kicked on, which is nice, giving my little forest a little breeze. So now this is one of those trees this is I believe this was the proposed front, but now I'm wondering if this was the front. I don't mind these two trees as the front here, but they still look okay this way. But this tree definitely looks better from this side. As you're looking at it right now. Well, this is the big old thick trunk all the way up here, and you got these two side branches, and so there's some nice movement from this side. This side is kind of protruding and all the branches grow that way. So it's a decent looking tree. It's got a nice little canopy here, but it's got this big section here, this big thick section. I don't know what to think about that. So am I even looking at the tree? Maybe this is the front. Shame on me. So if this is the front of this tree, and this is the proposed back, yeah, I've completely switched my thinking on this one. So I'm gonna pretend this is the front of this tree, because in the future, if I move these around, I like this front better. If I like this front better, this one's growing new growth. We're going right at the camera. Getting that one off. And this one I'm going to be aggressive on. If that is the new front, I'm just going to get rid of this whole top right here. I could make some cuttings out of that if I desire. I got a lot of cuttings, possibly over here to my right. So this is a major chop here. So now from the front view, if that's the front and this is the main trunk, it goes from thick to a little bit thinner, and then now this goes to this new leader, which is thinner yet, which is, you know, again, thick to thin, which is nice. So that's the goal. If I get rid of this hanging branch right here, I get rid of that, and this poking in our way. I shorten that down. Cut a tip off, cut a tip off. So I cut the thicker branch here for this taller, skinnier one. We'll cut this here so the branches continue to grow out more. Got some older stumps here from previous chops. This one growing in is just not going to work. While I was filming again today, my camera just inexplicably stopped. Not sure why, but I was pretty close to being done. So we were working on the thicker tree here last. So since the camera turned off, I ended up making this one go down from up here. It was the taller one. It was real long and it had some real thick stuff up here. So I just bit the bullet and went ahead and made that one smaller. I also realized, I think as I was spinning it around more, that this might be the front, right? But now when I cut all these shorters, is that a little bit more better for the front? Because now this tree is just leaning towards the camera and all the growth, it's kind of leaning that way. This is more of an inviting hug, if you will, of forest. But we have our forest. We have an even number of trees. We usually like odd number of trees, but we got a couple rocks in there. And and things are filling out just fine. So it was super nice to work down here though on the trees. I got everything done I needed to get done so I could actually spend some time and working on the forest here. So the ficus forest, the Benjamina, if I believe that is the correct species, a variegated, a very odd grower, as I think I mentioned before, if that wasn't on part that I got cut off here, that a lot of the growth is up top. And it's been really gnarly and trying to get some kind of shape, but it's been really having a tough time. So a lot of clip and grow techniques, no wiring, but real thick on top. So I finally chopped it all down pretty low down. This is kind of a stump. This one got some nice movement in it. This one still has that slingshotty look, but we'll give it some time and we'll see what happens. I have to make sure I check my plants to see if there's any bugs on there. A couple times a day I'll be checking my plants and making sure that those aphids or whatever they were are gone for good. If not, we'll have to apply some more stuff to it, either soap or insecticidal soap or the neem oil, give that a shot. But hey, that's going to wrap it up. I hope the snowstorm, if you were in the upper Midwest, didn't hurt you in any way, didn't harm you too much. You got your paths cleared and everything's okay. Your back's not too sore from shoveling. I'm feeling a little bit woozier today, a little bit more tired in the back region, but all in all, I think it was a success. So hey, thanks for watching so much. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your fellow bonsai enthusiasts about the channel. Click like, make some comments. I certainly read everything and would love to hear from you as well. So in the meantime, hey, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we will catch you very, very soon on the next one.